We have two car brands on the verge of catastrophic failure, and we're going to talk about it on today's pod.
3, 2, 1.
Quiet on the set. Pick 73.
All right, Zach, so I think that I may be the only person in the world that knows what Jaguar is doing with this rebrand.
Confirmed. If you know exactly what they're doing, then you've confirmed.
I know exactly what they're doing. So think about this. What is it's marketing, right? Marketing?
It's something. I don't know if it was
when
marketing.
was the last time you thought or talked about the Jaguar brand until what happened?
Agreed, but
100%.
how does it ROI?
Just wait. So here's what I think they're doing. I think they're doing these videos because they wanted people to start talking about Jaguar again. Literally everybody. Joe Rogan is talking about Jaguar brand. When would Joe Rogan ever talk about Jaguars?
Only the James Bond movies.
Cybertrucks, it's his muscle cars, all that stuff. So he's talking about Jaguar. Everyone's talking about Jaguar. Nobody can stop talking about it. So then you know what I think they do?
Release the real brand.
No, it's the Uno reverse car. Just kidding, guys. We got you talking about us again. Here's a new car model that we have coming out.
When IHOP said they no
The
longer would
burgers.
be pancakes, they're going to be burgers.
Yes. I think it might be the same marketing company. But anyway, so do you know who owns Jaguar?
No, I do not.
The company is called Tata, and they are out of India.
This is starting to make more and more sense as you just continue on through the whole thing.
It's really interesting, right? But it is kind of like, what are they thinking if you watch this thing? Yeah. It's a little weird. It's a little out there. But at the same time, it gets people talking about it. It got our podcast talking about it.
But if you watch it, like that's the problem I have with it is if you watch it and you look at the branding of it, you're more likely to look at this as like a Gucci handbag, Louis Vuitton, than you are to look at Automotive. Mm-hmm. And that's my problem I have with so many companies that are trying marketing. And we are, disclaimer here, breaking news, you may not know this, we are not branding experts. But what I do know is like what resonates with my staff, my people, and obviously customers. And having a ad that has absolutely nothing to do with automotive makes it feel like you're trying to launch a brand statement and not an automotive company. And that's going to be the interesting play is, again, I think a lot of businesses that are struggling right now are looking to make a complete shift and say, hey, we are not an automotive company. We are a lifestyle brand. So maybe Jaguar is doing that. It'll be interesting to watch in the next, hopefully 3 weeks, something come out with the next steps.
Well, and I think the problem right now is they've released this edgy kind of a rebranding, but they haven't really backed it up with anything of substance yet. I mean, they've let this thing marinate for a week or two now, and everyone's kind of like, now the buzz is starting to die down.
Yeah.
I think what they really need to do is release this. Everyone's like, what in the world? You're getting on Joe Rogan podcast. All these people are talking about it. Now it's like, all right, here's our substance. Here's what we were doing. But again, you're a car company at the end of the day.
I was going to say, though, but quick question. Name one model that Jaguar sells.
I don't know. I mean, in my mind, it's like that the 1990s, like XJ7 or whatever it was with the Jaguar on the front. It's like this dark green color. That's the car
with
that I see.
tan interior.
For me, that's a Jaguar. And I wanted one of those cars.
That's what you see.
So
I
bad
see James
back in the
Bond.
day. Oh, there you go.
That's the only thing I think of. When somebody says Jaguar, there's two things I think of. Somebody British, and again, James Bond. So I think that's the only reason why you have to go out and do something as crazy as this, because I do agree. It has people talking. And at the end of the day, that is really the only point of marketing.
How much do you think they paid this marketing company? Do you think I could have undercut their prices?
Yes, without a doubt.
I mean, what are we thinking? Millions?
Oh, without a doubt. That
has to be.
Yeah, in the tens to $50 million range for a national rebrand launch. Like, that's the part that's insane in this whole thing is literally, I've seen my kids dress up in very similar outfits when they're playing in the basement. So I could have saved you guys a lot of money. If you need anything, reach out to Driving Relationships Podcast. We could start a marketing company right now because we can add AR to the back of anything. So we're definitely looking at that branch and that launch. But with obviously the Jaguar conversation, there's probably one that's even more intriguing and intrusive to the automotive state, and that's the Nissan brand. Kind of give us an update of what we were just talking about.
Yeah, so I kind of have to read this off because this is pretty fresh news where a Nissan executive, I guess there was some report that they did with Financial Times is what the interview was. There was a couple of Nissan executives, which of course were unnamed. You make a statement like this, at least put your name out there, risk being fired.
Off the record.
And here's why I say that. They have 12 to 14 months to survive. So if you make that statement about your company, but you go unnamed in the report, I would have been like, yeah, it's me, guys. We're not going to make it. I'm out, updating my resume. I'm hopping over to...
Hey, my name's Austin Conroy, and I'm looking for my next career opportunity in the next 12 to 14 months.
So what I'm reading about this a little bit is it looks like, their operating profit fell last quarter by 99%. The stock price has dropped.
99%?
Stock prices dropped 30% this year. Sales are declining. And so they've made job cuts, they've slowed production. Basically, what they're looking for is another outside investor. So there's a lot of rumors out there that Honda is going to be this kind of under the table takeover where they're going to take over Nissan, Mitsubishi. You won't even know it's Honda, but Honda's going to be the one taking
Can we
over.
pause for a second? Because, I sold cars directly out of college. I know you actually had a real life career before the auto industry. 99% revenue loss. Is that saying like I made a dollar last year and this year I made a penny?
Well, it's year over year. I think it's year over year, which is wild, right?
Ooh, babe, that's going to hurt the bottom line.
So, yeah, it's interesting. So, yeah, Nissan, Honda, Mitsubishi Motors, this deal was put together really earlier this year. So that's where a lot of people, this Nissan news is crazy, 12 to 14 months to live. But granted, there's going to be somebody that comes in and invests in this brand.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I think for those that are listening that maybe aren't directly in automotive, like this isn't that uncommon. There's a lot of actual brands and manufacturers out there that share joint ventures. And I think you've seen that. Honda and GM just did one. Toyota and Subaru have done numerous of them.
And Mazda, Mazda.
Toyota at one point essentially gave a factory to Tesla. So like these companies have worked, a lot of these big automotive companies work together for, gives and takes, opportunities, different things like that. So it's not that unheard of. The part that's unheard of is a manufacturer coming out and saying we're in dire straits.
Yeah.
Like this is the end and it's near and we are looking for somebody because talk about showing your hand in your position. I mean, financials would do that at a 99% revenue loss, but on top of that, you just make it very clear what we think's going on.
Here's where the conspiracy comes full circle. There's a lot of people that think that Jaguar executives were the ones that made this announcement to distract from what they have going on with the rebranding.
That what it is? That's the conspiracy?
That's all I'm saying.
Where did you find this at?
It's somewhere on the internet. I promise. I kind of made that up, but I do love conspiracy theories. It's very well could.
I bet someone could link it.
But here's my thing: is why come out with that news and then be unnamed with your source? Why would you do that? Like, just tell people who you are. You're updating your resume, obviously, if you think the company's going to be dead.
I think you're also whoever releases that's probably floating this for purposes of getting conversation going about who's going to buy it.
It's got to be a little clickbait.
This is
right.
Well, yeah, and I think that again, who releases this is kind of like floating news to a reporter. It's kind of like when in sports when the same reporter is the one who always breaks the story.
Yeah.
You go, are they really breaking stories or are they just being fed the answer before it comes out? So I'm sure that's where it's at. The bigger question again for, those in the auto industry that are working at a Nissan store, like, have you felt the same pressure? Have you felt the same feelings? Obviously, we worked with some Nissan stores and have had conversations with people in there. And we know Nissan's tough right now. Like, to sell cars at a Nissan store, we hear continuously how hard it is and how difficult. So it's going to be an intriguing one to hear when the manufacturer's saying, hey, we are wrapping up and it does not look good. What do you do as a sales professional? What do you do as a sales manager? What do you do as a finance manager at those stores? It's things that I've never thought of. I mean, I would imagine that there would definitely be some resume correction and sharpening pencils to those stores.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to see this news if you work at a store, like let's say Nissan. It's hard to see this news and be like, well, maybe you write it out for a little bit and pay attention to it. But man, I don't think there's too much to worry about. There's going to be a brand that invests in it, and with them partnering with Honda already, like it sounds like there's Honda's already stepped up to partner with Nissan to develop EVs. Amid the pressure from Chinese rivals, greater uncertainty with Trump getting into office. So I think they're already, again, behind the scenes working on this stuff. I don't know why these two executives feel the need to come out and really fearmonger and scare people of, hey, we're going to be out of business.
Does Nissan do this to have an Apple step in? You have Hyundai and Amazon. Does Nissan announce this to have a tech company come in and say, hey, we'll take your nameplate, we'll move this into our production?
Well, because let's face it, cars are becoming more and more like a lifestyle thing. There's going to be subscription-based services. There's going to be, innovation in cars that I know is coming that we just haven't seen yet. So that's a good point. Maybe they are doing that just to be like, hey, we're in trouble. And then Elon Musk like, hey, I'm going to buy you or MSNBC. I don't know which one.
He's already there with Tesla. He's out on Nissan for sure. But
who knows? Maybe
I think that's a great point. Like we just looked at the ownership study that came out at the end of 2023. It takes quite a bit of time in 2024, and it showed that in 22, 77% of people intended to use primary transportation as personal vehicle. And in 2023, it went to above 90.
Yeah.
So for all the people that are thinking like public transportation, Uber, trains in your city, like that's still viable transportation, but they still have a primary vehicle. So to your point about like Nissan's not going away, there's no manufacturer that's going to go away unless they keep bearing it with bad decisions. And then you're going to fall into like the Stellantis side where you may not have the brand go away, but you're going to have the reduction of brand. Yeah. And I think that's probably a healthy move for companies is going, hey, we don't need 7 different companies. Toyota had that with Scion and Toyota, and it was very difficult to try to dual brand that. So getting rid of the Scion brand and absorbing that into Toyota just made it simpler. And I think that they saw the rewards instantly of going, hey, some of these Scion branded vehicles don't sell well, but under the Toyota nameplate, they do just fine.
Yeah. I also don't think we can talk about this since we bring up the Mitsubishi brand. There's a pretty famous Mitsubishi dealer, although he's not famous for selling Mitsubishis, that called out a vendor on TikTok, and this thing has gone absolutely viral.
Just got a call from 2 other dealers. They want to raise their prices. They asked me, George, what are you going to do? Are you going to cancel? I'm like, I don't know. Can you? And then my buddy said, I feel like they just got like a weapon right to your head. You can't really do anything.
Let me just tell you, I love the world we live in right now. This is amazing. We get to call out third-party vendors that say, you guys are jacking our prices up. We don't like it. What do you other dealers feel like?
And in 23 minutes, 5 million other people comment in saying, damn, they did the same thing to me. This is happening.
Man, I absolutely love it. And you know what? It shows you the power of social media and why brands on both sides of the table need to be careful right now. But I love it. It brings transparency and it brings accountability to doing business. Like if you're that third party that's a lead provider and you are not delivering the results, how can you raise your prices? Right? If your product is innovating, if you're bringing in more results or you have this different avenue to bring in leads, sure, raise our prices for that. But to just say, hey, I'm going to double your price just year to year, that's not right. And I love the fact that it got called out.
Yeah, and I think the part that's been unique about that in automotive is when I started in the sales business, I had an opportunity to work in the internet department. You did as well. And at that point, when you would meet with vendors, it was pay per play. Yeah. Like we literally felt like what we paid for is what we got in return. And that felt dirty and nasty. And now it's like, I'll go back to that. If I pay this amount of money, this is what I want as the ROI of it. And all of these vendors have moved. It does not matter what legacy vendor nameplate you use. They've all moved away from saying, we no longer influence leads. We influence the opportunity for you to get that opportunity. And it's like, wait a minute. So I pay you to now force people to my website and you influence them, but I'm still paying you for what? Yeah. Well, the opportunity to be a part of our website. And it's like, this makes no sense. I want to go back to the old school way that I felt like was dirty. The more you pay me, the better you do, the higher you are. But to their point too, it's like they collect all the customers' information. They get them onto the website. They dictate who they truly click on because they'll tell you that isn't, but where you rank, what's displayed, what's trending, what's showing. So they kind of hold this monopoly of saying, do not pass go, do not collect $200. But in their terms, it's do not pass go, do not collect $4,000, $5,000, $8,000, $12,000, $15,000. And we as dealers feel like we have to do that. And social media kind of levels the playing field.
Yeah, and like think about their platform as a third-party lead provider. It only works if they have 2 things: customers on the platform and dealers on the platform.
Exactly. Yeah.
So don't forget, if you're a third-party marketing company, you need those dealers just as much as you need the customers. Because if these dealers say, you know what, we're going to get together, we're going to delist, we're going to quit using your product because you guys are jacking up the prices, and they're doing it to that guy, they're doing it to that guy, they're doing it, they drop it. They don't have a platform.
Right.
They have no cars advertising their platform.
And I think that's the part where it's going to be interesting to see where automotive goes. Because I think to that same conversation, you and I just were sharing an article via text that was saying how paid social is such a precise way to spend your advertising dollars and that you can target people and you can, well, that's happening now. Like people are getting people who they're following and they trust. You can't get more targeted than somebody that I click on and say, I love your content. I love what you're doing. I want to be a part of you in whatever capacity it is. And it's going to be a consumption because I'm not going to interact with whoever is on the other side of the screen, but I'm going to consume that data. That's about as precise as it gets. So how are these companies going to say, hey, I may lose the fishing net, that broadcasting net out into the ocean, but I may be able to go target exactly who I know I want. And I think that's the power of where social is getting in there. And I think, we've talked a little bit about here at our dealership how social is not going to replace SEO, but it's going to be a replacement to how we spend our money in SEO. So when we want to organically grow, social is going to be what drives people into let's say it's Logan, our producer, who's now doing, business content, people we partner with, and they love people who do community work. And now they come back to a blog that he writes about how our company interacts in the community. Well, I want to work with him. I saw Logan on social doing this. I saw his blog that talks about why we chose to do this as a company. Now I'm going to transact with him. And that's going to be kind of that unique power of social media as we continue to grow into it, that if you're not on social, you need to find a way to get on it. And that's kind of the power of what we saw in this clip with probably the world's largest Mitsubishi dealer who probably doesn't care about Mitsubishi outside of...
World's most famous Mitsubishi
There
dealer.
you go. That's probably a good way to put it.
That's probably a better way to put it. Yeah, but I think the shift is going to be really interesting over the next year or two, because I think a lot of dealers are waking up to the fact that, hey, we could be wasting a ton of money here on our marketing and advertising, and probably are, because the results aren't there, or the accountability to say, okay, I spent $10,000 with you this month.
Yeah.
What did I get? Oh, we influenced 7 car sales. Is that really worth it? Like, are there better ways for me to spend my money? Are there other ways that I could put more stuff on social media, more videos? I mean, I would think Facebook, if you did product review, car review videos, and you paid somebody $10,000 to do that and posted them, I feel like you would get better traction off that than you would potentially using like these lead providers.
Yeah, and I think not only do you get that, but I think you then draw a customer base as well.
Yeah.
Like people are coming to you, and it may be the untraditional customer base. That's going to be the next step, is like, we are so used to wanting to lead through the vendor route. Hey, give me their name, give me their email, give me their phone number, and I'll take care of the rest. Well, you may be getting somebody that interacts via the comments, that never provides a phone number, never provides a name. That's the part we've laughed about, that we're meeting people, and we're meeting them day one and walking up to them and saying, hey, Big Bass Boy, how are you? Good to see you. Like, we are meeting them by usernames and not their first name, last name. But that's an interaction that we are going to have to learn as a dealer operation. Like, how do we take Big Bass Boy and translate that through direct message to email, to phone number, to text? Because those are going to be the new paths of consuming customers.
That's going to be a fun thing to watch. It's also going to be fun to watch what Jaguar actually does when they pull out that Uno reverse card and show us what the purpose of this new brand
Which,
is. So,
after you saying this, to just kind of wrap the whole thing, you may be right, because the colors used in the Jaguar kind of match the Uno cards to a
I'm
T.
saying, I think they're onto something. They're onto something. So like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate you all listening.